Morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now today we are going to talk about blitz and the issue that is currently ongoing in World of Tanks blitz. So as you are aware, obviously with the war happening in Ukraine with Russia, Wargaming did announce that they are moving away from Belarus and they're moving away from Russia. What comes with that is that also then means that they are not running their RU server. That is going to be given to somebody else and it won't be part of Wargaming. So recently what has happened is that everybody on the RU server had the option to transfer their account, and with that Wargaming did say on when they announced it that for best gameplay it is best for them to move to the EU server for stability, the network and signal, etc., ping. It's better if they moved to the EU server. So that has been happening. Now this is in a way good news. Initially it is good news because the RU server was the biggest server out of the lot of them, because of course there were so many people that were on the RU server, like pretty much more than double any other server. So with the RU server going and a lot of the people transferring their accounts from the RU server to the EU server, that will now make the EU server very popular and very, very busy. So there's going to be a lot of people playing on the EU server. So that sense is good news. The bad news is, now this not just the EU server, NA, Asia, every server has its own downfalls when it comes to people being toxic. People, I do a World of Dummies series and it's constant, every game it is almost constant that there is some dickhead there that just wants to be known. I don't know, that just wants to give a little bit of salt. So what actually we've been seeing more recently is that people that are raging, etc. It's already bad enough as it is, but with the people coming from the RU server, that has now just doubled, and it is just made at least just the EU server. I'm not sure about NA and I'm not sure about Asia, but it's now made this server so toxic, more than it already was. And not only that, but I'm not going to say we're on the EU server, you need to speak English. No, because it's not an English server, it's an EU server. But what is happening now, and I've seen so many screenshots where it is just constant Russian abuse, just constant loads of Russian or Russian speaking people just being toxic. And not just that, because I'm not just blaming Russians. I'm far from blaming Russians, but what actually is happening now is people are coming from the RU server to the EU server. And of course, with the war that's happening, we get the rage. Russia will win, Russia this, Russia that. But on top of that, we also have the Ukrainian people that are coming over from the RU server as well, that has their own voices as well. So not only have we got the EU noobs, the EU dummies that feel the need to rage and to be toxic, we now have the Russians coming over doing the exact same but in Russian, and obviously some people will support the war, some people won't support the war. Some people, I'm not saying all the Russians that are coming over are supporting the war, etc., because they're not that 100%, like they're not. But now we've also have the Ukrainians coming over, and of course they don't support the war. So that is what they are raging at. So they're coming over to the EU server, Russia this, Russia that. So it's a difficult situation at the moment for the EU server. I mean, this game here, you could already see raging going on, and it's now just tripled, literally even more than that. I've spoke to people where they're saying every single battle that they go in, there is Russian speaking people that are either saying stuff, or maybe they're talking English, I don't know, and they're just raging, and that they are saying shit about the war, etc. And the same for Ukrainian people, and they're doing the same. They're coming over to the EU server now, and F the war, F Putin, F this, F that. I understand that, I do understand that, but there is a time and a place for that, and online gaming like we are doing here is not really the time and place for that, because it is ruining the experience for everybody that is trying to play the game. So I don't know where Wargaming go from here. I don't know if they're going to up their policy, you know, the chat policy, or if they're just going to stop the chat full stop. I really don't know. What is your guys' suggestions? What do you suggest? Is it just the EU server that is currently being like this? I don't know how many from the EU server have gone to the Asia server or American server. I can't see it being too many. But is your server, or have you run into issues at the moment regarding people from the RU server? Because I can't see how it's going to get any better with more and more people coming over to the EU server. Of course, the gameplay as well. I've been told that the gameplay has dramatically changed, because each server have their own kind of gameplay, and obviously the Russian server will have their kind of gameplay, EU server their own gameplay, of course the NA and the Asian server as well. So it's definitely, with the amount of people that's coming over to the EU server, it's definitely changing the gameplay. But more importantly, I'm not bothered about that. We can adapt to that gameplay, that's no problem. What I have an issue with is the amount of toxicity, I can't even say that word, that there is at the moment on the EU server. So let me know your thoughts. Are you having this issue as well? Personally, I don't play the game as much now because of my work's changed, so I haven't really run into many issues, but I have a few battles a day maybe. So let me know your thoughts. Have you had this issue? Are you getting this non-stop cussing, you know, raging? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and where do we go from this? What should Wargaming do to resolve this issue? So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I thought this is something I definitely had to address, because it is a problem that so many people are now running into. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.